The last cigarette. I smoked my last cigarette at 10:20 a.m., January 1st, 1987. When I was growing up, everyone smoked. Both my parents smoked. First it was Camels. My brother said that at one time they even rode their own Dunhills. Finally, they allowed that filtered cigarettes might be better for them, and they switched to Winston's. My father's last cigarette was September 1973, a few days before he went into the hospital where he succumbed to heart failure. My mother's last cigarette was July 2001, on her last day at home, while we waited for the paramedics to come and take her to the hospital. Following her hospital stay, she went into a nursing home where she passed away in April 2009 at the age of 90. My brother smoked, but he was a social smoker and quit sometime after he got married. I never considered him a serious smoker. My roommate at college smoked. My boyfriend Joe smoked. I started smoking when I was a senior in high school. I think I must have stolen them from my mother's pack. So I smoked Winston's. Joe smoked Cools. Eventually we married, and I switched him over to Winston's with me. We went through about a carton a week. Joe about a pack a day, and me half a pack. For Christmas 1986, Joe bought the family a video camera. He went around the house describing our decorations. Christmas morning, he videotaped the children opening their presents. As they did so, he made a running commentary. On January 1st, 1987, Joe and I were sitting in the family room reading the paper when I light up my second cigarette of the day. I look over at Joe, down at the ashtray, and with pure venom in my heart, I say, "You haven't had a cigarette since last night. You've made a New Year's resolution to give up smoking, haven't you?" He gives me a sweet smile and nods his head. Now I have to give up smoking. Joe had tried once or twice before to give it up without me and was not successful. It was the right thing to do for the children. Words could not describe the cigarette stench inside Joe's car. We needed to do this together if it was ever going to happen for either of us. It was the right thing to do. That day we went to Joe's parents' house for New Year's Day dinner. It seemed interminable. We were the only ones in the family who smoked, so nobody noticed or cared. I came home and said, "Okay, I can do this." Interestingly, what had motivated Joe was that videotape of Christmas morning. All you could hear was him clearing his throat as he tried to talk. He had his last cigarette New Year's Eve, and he never looked back. I wanted to slap him. The way I got through it was not by saying I'm never going to smoke again, but saying I'm just not going to have a cigarette now. Maybe later, but not now. And to that end, I kept all the cigarettes where they were. The unopened packs in my dresser drawer, an open pack in the kitchen cupboard, an open pack in the glove compartment of Wally, our 1984 walnut-colored Lincoln Town Car. I don't think I carried any more in my purse. Although not fond of the smell of cigarettes, when I did find an old handkerchief that had not been washed, the tobacco smell reminded me of my mother rather than me. It was a year and a half before I could safely say that not only would I not have a cigarette now, but if I did, it would probably make me sick. I also knew that if I did and kept going, by the third cigarette, I would be right back to where I was before. I stopped thinking about them on a daily basis, but I do remember going to the airport to pick my son up from a basketball camp after he injured his ankle, really, really wishing I could have a cigarette. If my daughter tried smoking, it was probably one and done. She still criticizes me for subjecting them to all that secondhand smoke. Wally went off to college with my son, and when they came back, the cigarettes were no longer in the glove compartment. He, like his uncle, was a social smoker, only when he was drinking with others and not in my presence. His wife's father had succumbed to lung cancer, so it was for sure he never smoked in front of her. Now that he is a father, I think he's finally given them up for good. I enjoyed smoking. It was a time-keeping device. I'll smoke one more cigarette and then I'll It was a social device. Sit with me for a minute and have a cigarette. It was a calming device. I need to do something with my hands. Given how the culture has changed over the years and that there are fewer and fewer places where you can smoke, I am finally able to be grateful to my husband for making that New Year's resolution.